Another week of fall sports has come to a close as the field hockey teams ends one streak and starts another.
Not to mention it's bye-bye to the bye week for the football team. The Owls are starting to gear up for conference play with the Roadrunners.
I'm Xavier Johnson, outside Edberg Olson Hall. More on the football team as we feature one player who picked up a single jersey before ever stepping on the Temple practice field.
And I'm Ethan Yabina, live at the Temple Sports Complex. Two players on the women's soccer team have already stepped up in their freshman year, already making an impact.
Dano, at the studio set, I will highlight the men's team as the Owls competed in the Temple Invitational at the 1912 Club in Plymouth meeting. Owl Sports Update is live and it starts right now.
The fall sports have really taken stride as plenty of teams have started heading into conference play. Hello and welcome to this edition of Owl Sports Update. I'm Gabriel Linigton.
And I'm Kayla Levine. Most are well into conference play, but football is about to join the party.
After a bye week, a new start for Temple football has begun with the first American matchup of the 2025 season upon us. Let's take a look at this weekend where the Roadrunners are coming to Philly. Both teams share the same record at 2-2. The statistics are pretty similar. UTSA has more passing and rushing yards than the Owls. That Oklahoma game really hurt Temple's offensive stats as the Owls weren't able to get going on either end. Both teams have gone up against and lost to ranked opponents this season. For the Roadrunners, it was their season opener against ranked 6 Texas A&M. As for the Cherry and White, they lost to both number 5 Oklahoma and number 17 Georgia Tech. So we have some similarities. It's the first conference game for both teams and both are also coming off a bye.
A great week off for us, man. We got a lot of, first team on first team reps, really getting us ready. And then we were off towards the end of the week. Bodies feel refreshed. We're all good up front and ready to roll and start conference play. Exciting time of the year. I'm excited to be able to play against a new opponent that, I haven't been able to face and get into conference play. It's very important to us that we start 1-0 because top to bottom in this conference, anybody can beat anybody. And at the end of the year, it's going to be really interesting to see who's at the top. We should have been in a one-score game against Georgia Tech if we execute a lot better up front. But just being able to play two great teams and, the speed at which they play is great for us. We had a lot of confidence going into conference play.
We didn't really classify it as a bye week, but more of a get better week. So kind of just tightening up on them details and, going into conference play, we want to make sure we're as detailed and crisp as possible and just focus on doing our job and taking advantage of every single play. It was, especially UMass, it was a new coordinator, first time in game action with coordinators and different people around you. So we didn't know how to mesh well. So it was kind of contributes to the poor starts when we try to do too much and everything. But I think that's something we really focused on and we're going to get fixed moving on.
Game day is approaching, so we are joined by Inside the Nest anchor Pat Dallahan. Pat, welcome to Thursday's show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So starting off, can you give us a feel of how the difference of the type of play we're going to see this weekend and beyond compared to a team like undefeated Oklahoma?
Well, Oklahoma, obviously, at the time had Heisman quarterback John Mateer. He's been sidelined with a thumb injury, but the talent gap is so different. Owen McCown is a solid player in his own right, the UTSA quarterback, but he's not a Heisman caliber player. R. Mason Thomas for Oklahoma could be the best defensive tackle in the country, and Temple had to go up against him. So just in terms of talent, the gap, the disparity is so wide. So for Temple, it's going to be a lot more of their own speed, and they're going to be able to play their game a little bit better.
Well, talking about UTSA, this weekend sets Temple up for conference play. How important do you think it is for Temple to prevent a conference slide like has been in the past few seasons?
Well, the back end of their conference schedule is ridiculously hard. They play Navy, Tulane, North Texas, and ECU. All teams that very well could win 6, 7, 8 games throughout this season. Tulane could win 9. So when you look at the back end of that schedule, you need to stack wins now. You need to stack as many wins as you can early so that you can head into conference play with 3 wins, maybe even 4 wins. Who knows? If you win these games, the rest will take care of itself. You need to be focused on the now.
And we're sticking with UTSA. UTSA's defense has kept its opponents to 20 points or less. What do you think is going to come out of that Evan Simon offense that's going to be a little bit changed there?
Well, UTSA's defense is ranked around 100 in every single major statistical category. But the thing that stood out to me is how often opponents run the ball against them. 55% of the time do opponents run the ball against UTSA. That really molds well into Temple's play style and their game plan. They really like to run the ball a lot. So the pressure isn't going to be on Evan Simon as much as it was against Georgia Tech, against Oklahoma, where they're playing from behind and having to go up against these high-octane offenses. They will be fine with just running the ball. The UTSA defense feels pretty comfortable with teams running the ball against them. So Simon's just going to have to take what the defense is giving him, and they're going to need to continue to pound the rock.
Well, exactly. Well, you talked about high-octane offenses, and Temple's had variable games. These past 4 games, we haven't seen anybody really on Temple's level.
Right.
How important do you think this game against UTSA is going to be for Temple creating an identity?
Well, you talked about it. The disparity of talent between UMass and Howard compared to Georgia Tech and Oklahoma, 2 teams that are trying to make the college football playoff, it's a lot. So it's going to be really nice for Temple, especially as a coaching staff and as a team, to get into conference play and to understand who they are as a team. You're not going to learn a lot about yourself when you're getting killed by 50, and you're not going to learn a lot about yourself when you're winning by 50. So for them, going up against teams of their caliber that are in the 100 to 90 range in the college football rankings, it will be really beneficial for Temple, and they'll learn a lot more about themselves as the season goes on because of this.
Okay, well, thanks, Pat, for coming on to Desk. We love hanging out with you.
Of course.
You can catch Pat and the rest of the Inside the Nest crew live at Tuesdays at noon on TUTV. Temple Athletics is giving every fan of Temple football a deeper look at the program. Temple Talk Football is a live weekly show that is recorded at Maxey's. The show features head coach Kayla along with the voice of Temple Athletics and Kevin Kopp. In this week's show, one focus is what it will be like in South Philly on Saturday when the UTSA comes to town, along with the first Phillies playoff game of 2025.
Coach, I know these opportunities to play at Lincoln Financial Field are special. Hope that we can take this weather and copy-paste it. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. Want everyone to come on out and support this team this weekend, next week. You get 2 in a row against UTSA and Navy, 2 really cool opportunities.
Cherry Red October.
There you go. It all fits, you know.
We go. Yeah.
Just, it'll work. You just do that. The game gets done. Walk across the street. Go to the Phillies game at 7.
I had heard the Phillies had stolen my whole thing, but I'm okay with it. I'm rooting them on. But let's face it, it's Cherry Red October.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to get a couple wins down in the sports complex on Saturday. That's the plan. Coach Keeler, thanks so much for being with us. All right. Let's take a break. More Temple talk when we continue here from Maxey's Pizza, Subs, and Bar.
That's just a small part of this Friday's show. You can watch this episode and every episode of Temple Talk Football each Friday at 12 p.m. and again at 8 p.m. on TUTV. Kevin Kopp is always joined each week by Coach Keeler along with other assistant coaches and players. You don't want to miss it.
The Owls are going to need some big-time performances from some big-time players in this opener. Let's take a look at 2 standout players who have continued to show a strong start to the Owls season. On the offensive side, we have running back Jay Ducker. He leads the team with 50 carries and 315 rushing yards. This is the senior's first year on North Broad and has contributed to 2 of the team's rushing touchdowns. Jumping to defense, we have linebacker Cameron Stewart. The senior has 6 solo tackles, 3 assists, and 4 sacks so far this season. 2 of those sacks came during the 55-7 win over Howard in early September.
Standout players now for standout scores. Here's a look around the American. East Carolina was able to get a comfortable win 28-6 over Army. Then the Mean Green stay undefeated as it gets a win over South Alabama 36-22. Talking about undefeated teams, Memphis is also 5-0 as it got a win over conference rival Florida Atlantic. The Owls now drop to 1-3 on the season. I mentioned one team of Owls, why not another? Again on the losing side as Rice fell to Navy 21-13. Finally, Tulane got the better of Tulsa on the road 31-14. There are only 3 teams remaining in the conference that are undefeated overall: Navy, Memphis, and North Texas. That's around the American, but let's get back to North Broad. Evan Simon has thrown 10 touchdown passes this season, and one of those throws found a new single-digit player.
OwlSports update Xavier Johnson is live at Edberg Olson to tell us about number 1 on the roster. Hey, Xavier.
Getting a single digit is a huge honor to receive here at Temple, especially as a newcomer. But that didn't stop Colin Chase from showing everyone he was ready for the role, even before his first down here for the Owls. Redshirt junior Colin Chase didn't need to play a single game before being singled out as one of Temple's best players and leaders.
So first, I'd say it's earned.
Chase is one of Temple's single-digit players.
Second thing, it wasn't my decision. It was actually a more player decision because his name wouldn't have gotten on the list unless the players had voted him there.
I know when I first got here, I had to gain the trust from those around me. So with that being said, I had to put in the work and I had to prove that I could be a leader before I spoke.
Chase was a first-team selection in the Pioneer League at St. Thomas, which is a smaller FCS school. Now at Temple, he carries the number 1 jersey.
To be able to come here and be here only for a couple months and gain the trust from my teammates, the coaching staff, and all the support staff meant a lot. I know as soon as I got the single digit, I obviously celebrated my teammates. They were all so happy for me, and I called my family back home. Chase has 9 catches and 1 touchdown so far this season at wide receiver.
He has a really high ceiling. I think there's a lot more he can do for us.
Chase has had lofty goals from the moment he came to Temple, not only as a player, but also as a person.
For myself, I was really just going to be myself, and that's going above and beyond in everything I do, whether that's the classroom, the field, community service, or just like the little things like showing up on time for treatment and things like that. Chase has shown us all that it doesn't matter what school you come from or how long you've been there. A leader is going to reveal themselves in any environment they're in because of the hard work they put in, not just for themselves, but for others around. Reporting from Edberg Olson Hall, I'm Xavier Johnson. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Xavier. We are now at our first break of the show. We normally talk about coaches and players, but when we come back, I'll highlight the most important member of the football team that you've likely never heard of.
And field hockey dips into a Big East battle with a local rival. We'll be back in just 90 seconds.
Welcome back. Temple football has been, well, frustrating for most fans and followers these past few years, but it seems as though the team is making positive turns. As is often the case, most of the credit and blame too sits with the head coach, who is Casey Kayla in this example. But there is another staff member behind the scenes at Temple with almost just as much influence.
Temple football hasn't seen a staff position like this. Casey Kayla, as head coach, was the biggest addition to Temple's coaching staff, but turning this Temple program around might not be possible without general manager Clayton Barnes.
I mean, I think Kayla and CB, they're pretty much together, and, they just know how to win.
And winning is what they do. The Owls are working to build a new culture, and much of it starts with Barnes. As general manager of the team, he controls who's on the roster.
We have a really good opportunity to be competitive every conference game we have. Our mind is there's 8 straight 50-50 games, and our job is to out-execute those teams and win as many of those as possible.
And Barnes has the resume of a winner. He's guided teams such as Texas State and Georgia Southern, but the work he did at Sam Houston is most revealing. During his 4 years, the Bearcats improved from a 7-5 win team before his arrival to a 10-3 win team in his final year before coming to the nest. And now on North Broad, he finally has a staff ready to help.
Army of people, when I'm used to kind of being a one-man show. I went through the COVID season together, won a national championship through the FBS transition, and going through all the different trials and tribulations and navigating different situations that really just got us closer together because at the end of the day, there really wasn't anyone else on the sports staff. It was me and him.
Barnes is at the helm of this cherry and white squad. Everyone knows it. And so far, the Owls are better off for it.
The great thing about Barnes is his increasing marginal utility. The longer he stays around on North Broad, the more time he will have to mould the Owls into the team he believes can win games consistently.
Starting off last Friday with Villanova in town. The first half of this matchup was scoreless until the third quarter, where Villanova's Colleen Finning got the penalty shot, putting up the Wildcats 1-0 with 4 minutes left in the period. Not long after that, Villanova once again with another penalty shot by Ava Borkowski, putting the team up 2-0 in the fourth. In response, Temple, who outshot Villanova 6-1 in the fourth quarter, was not able to secure a single goal. With continuous block shots, the Owls allowed their first home loss of the season and a 5-game winning streak to come to a close. The Owls lose this one 2-0 on North Broad.
Then on Sunday, Temple was back at home in a non-conference game against Richmond. Mattia LaSalle gets on the board first with only 5 minutes remaining in the first. Richmond does tie it, then Amy Strickland converts the penalty to get the Spiders a 2-1 advantage at the break. Then here's a scrappy one. Temple ties the contest with 27 seconds left in the third. Finally, looks like a deflection, but Augustina Tucheri brings home the goal after she rips one from deep to get the go-ahead score, her first of the season. Temple gets the comeback win, 3-2. Let's have a gander at where Temple lands in the Big East. Yes, the teams are only 2 games in, but the Owls find themselves at third in the standings, only below Liberty that have been playing stellar all season. They are 7-1 overall, undefeated in conference. Then there's Old Dominion, also undefeated, but this won't last long. On Friday, the number 1 and 2 teams in the Big East will be going head-to-head. Then below Temple, we have Providence, UConn, and Villanova all at 1-1. Finally, Quinnipiac and Georgetown are yet to get a win in conference. Temple as a team is towards the top of the standings in the Big East, but I wanted to highlight one player in particular. Last show I was saying it was all about Peyton Rigger, and I'm sticking with that. The senior is tied for tops on the team with 5 goals, but she can also be a playmaker. She's tallied 4 assists on the season, which is also tied for the highest on the team. Not to mention she is a 2-time Big East Offensive Player of the Week. Field hockey is the only Temple sport playing in the Big East. Up next, we head back into the American.
We'll be discussing both men's and women's soccer and the struggle that both these teams are facing. See you in 90. Welcome back. Women's soccer had a rainy night last Thursday between 2 Owls, Temple and Rice. Lots of action away from the goal. Tegan Harkins leans into one, but it's over the crossbar. Staying in the first half, another miss on a similar shot by Riley Wilpot. The game remains scoreless. Now moving on to Rice with a centering pass from the goal line, saved by goalkeeper Taylor Vecchioni. Off the corner, looks like a Temple goal, which is waved off. Then to finish the night with a win is Rice's Najia Bruckner with the game's only goal. The Rice Owls over the Temple Owls 1-0.
The men's team isn't having much better luck in its season. The Owls fell to Monmouth on the road for their second straight loss. Temple was actually able to tally more shots, 17 to Monmouth's 13, but still came up empty-handed. Marcin Klutz and Marco Pantano were the goal scorers for the Hawks as they take the 2-0 victory.
Back to the women's team, where this young crew is looking for more wins, but the goals are starting to come. OwlSports Update's Ethan Ubina is at the Temple Sports Complex talking about the mix of international flavor for the Owls.
Thanks, Kayla. There are a plethora of international students on the women's soccer team, but there are 2 on North Broad who have already made immediate impacts. Temple women's soccer is a work in progress, with just 3 wins so far this year. But they're getting help in 2025 thanks to a European and Middle Eastern flavor. Freshman starters Valentina Bitterwolf, a German midfielder, and Ofri Saker, an Israeli defender, bring a European style of play to the American game.
What I've noticed right away is that it's more intense over here. It's more running, it's more physical than in Europe. And in Europe it's rather more technical and tactical.
The soccer here is different. I'm getting used to the transition. Coaches are helping me out.
Bridging that gap is the focus for head coach Chris Shaw, who is tasked with blending European technique with American athleticism. In some ways, it's working, as the Owls have scored 19 goals this season, which already tops their total from all of last season.
They come over with a different style of play, a little bit more technical focus. Our kids can benefit from that in seeing that it is beneficial to not just be athletic.
But that impact goes beyond the field. It's building a richer team culture through a unique exchange of experiences.
You know, you can learn from these kids, right? You know, we talk about food, we talk about, you know, their culture back home. It's kind of a give and take.
While the style of play may be different, the result is a stronger and more unified team with blends of European talent and American grit. Playing for a new team as a freshman is difficult. To start 13 straight games is a whole different challenge. Live from the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Ethan Yabina, and OwlSports will be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back. Coming off a rocky season last spring, Temple Golf enters the new school year with new players and new hopes for a better showing. But competing in its first invitational meet of the season, the Owls show there's still lots of work to be done.
Temple men's golf is a work in progress.
We need a lot of improvement. Like I said, it's everyone's first tournament of the year.
Coach Brian Quinn got a chance to see his team for the first time this school year at the Temple Invitational 1 week ago. The Owls finished 8th out of 13 teams.
We have a lot of upside, and I think we have a lot of talent. And once we get everyone on the same page, I look for some really good things for these young kids.
But there are many reasons to be optimistic. One of those reasons is Nicholas Pizarski, a freshman from Orlando. He finished 37th at plus 13 at the 1912 club in Plymouth meeting.
The course got a lot more difficult as the week progressed because it got firmer and the rough got a lot thicker. And I had some shots out there today that I had some pretty thick rough to deal with.
Really trying to get everyone to gel together, getting everyone on the same page, and learning how to play, being mentally strong.
Temple has 4 new players this season on a team of 13.
There's plenty of room for improvement this year. Last year, the Owls ranked near the bottom at 228th out of 308 Division I schools.
What we've been stressing with our kids is short game. Really trying to get them to work on their pitching, chipping, bunkers, putting.
The Owls are now off until mid-October when they travel to North Carolina. It gives Temple another chance this fall to continue to grow into the team Coach Brian Quinn believes they can be.
One of the bigger meets coming up this fall is on October 23rd at the Big 5 Championships. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Grace Giordano. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Grace. That's all the time we have for you guys today. But if you didn't get your OwlSports fix, don't worry. You can catch our sports brief on Monday morning.
You can find that and any other Temple sports news on our social channel at OwlSports Update. From everyone in TV Studio 3, I'm Kayla Levine.
And I'm Gabriel Linigton. Thank you and have a great rest of the day.